So originally when I recorded this video, I had to make it a lot shorter because the original was 10 minutes. I kind of wanted to talk through my coloring process and like how to like go off a reference. So for starters, I colored like I used a picture of Billie Eilish, and her skin tone in the picture is very warm, so I used this peachy color for a base. And then I made her hair a lot warmer than I normally see in pictures and stuff. So what I'm doing right now is with a darker peachy color, I'm going in with where the shadows would be, like where her eyelid is and stuff, and underneath her eyebrow, like where her hair falls, which you can kind of see that. Where her like the shadows are in her nose and everything. Made them this darker peachy color. And of course, the voiceover that I did was also 10 minutes long, so I had to cut that too. So let's see. So now I'm just like picking more colors, and I'm going in with a darker shadow. I'm just kind of like showing, sorry, no, I'm not going in with a darker shadow. I'm drawing out where I think the highlights would be. If you can see on the reference photo, like her face, like the ball of her nose, there's light. And then on the bridge, on her forehead and everything. I was just kind of like pointing out like where the light would come in on the picture. And that would determine how you would shade and how you would add the highlights to the face. So I used a light pen for the highlights. I started on the ball of the nose, and then I did the bridge. And don't worry, because I'm gonna blend all that in. You don't want like too harsh of a line. And then I did the Cupid's bow above the lip, where the waterline starts, underneath the eyebrow, above the eyebrow, a little bit where the bottom eyelashes are, underneath the eye. And then I repeated the same process on the other eye. And don't worry, because all of that's going to get blended in. Oh, and I was just kind of explaining how if you were doing the highlight on the forehead, you wouldn't use a brush like that. You would want to like airbrush it. That would make it very feathery. And now I'm just going in and blending in the edges, because the edges are really harsh. And when you think of a highlight, you don't really want a harsh highlight. And that way it just makes it a lot smoother, it's prettier. Now if you were doing this grayscale, if you were doing it on paper and you were shading, you would rub your finger where you darkened it, and then you would leave space for the highlights where like the white would be. But this is just a little different because it's on my tablet. But you could do that with paint too also, if you were painting. I always like doing the highlighting part because it's the prettiest feature. I think I just went in and took that same color and then erased the shadows so you could see more clearly like the whites of her eyes. And I did the sketch really quickly. I was gonna show like how to draw it, but it would take too long to explain like the anatomy and everything. And it isn't like exact to the reference. It's actually in my style. Then I'm adding highlights to the lips, and if you can see in the picture, I actually goofed up. I didn't color the lips, but I did add the highlight. But you can see how it's kind of like split. Just added little dots. And that was just sort of the example that I used